Erling Haaland may look like he was born to dominate Premier League defences and break goal-scoring records in English top flight, but a young striker from Norway wasn't always a world-class forward, and he's clearly worked hard to become the player he is today. Although he enjoyed incredible records at both Molde and Red Bull Salzburg, it was at Borussia Dortmund that the towering number 9 honed his craft and became the deadly penalty box striker that he is today. He did this in two ways. The first involved the player adapting to a bigger and better team and becoming a more specialised striker, rather than being an all-round match winner for Salzburg. For example, in his first season at Dortmund, the number of dribbles Haaland attempted per game more than halved based on what he averaged at Salzburg the season before, and that figure continued to fall until his last season at the club, where it stood at just 1.92 dribbles per game. What's important to note here is that while Haaland's touches in the opposing box did also drop, it wasn't nearly as dramatic, and most importantly, the chances he was creating actually steadily increased during his 2.5 years at Dortmund. In other words, Haaland learned to spend less time outside the box taking on players and more time making space in the box to finish chances created by his teammates, which is exactly what he now does so well at Manchester City. The second way Haaland developed his game at Dortmund was through his aerial presence. It may seem odd to question the heading ability of a 6'5" striker, but bear in mind that over the course of 77 games for Molde and Salzburg, Haaland only scored 3 headed goals, which works out at just 6% of his total goals for both clubs. This, again, is something that he noticeably improved on during his time in Dortmund. At Salzburg, Haaland won, on average, 42% of his headers. In his first full season at Dortmund, that number had jumped up to 54%, and by the time he was wrapping up his final campaign in the Bundesliga, that number stood at 59%, which is why the Norwegian striker bagged as many headed goals in his final season at the club than he did in the 3 previous seasons combined, and why he has already scored a number of goals in the air for Pep Guardiola's side. Haaland may now be the most complete striker in the world, but he wasn't always a world-class player. The young talent has had to work hard at his success, and in Dortmund he was afforded the time and expert coaching to become the player that he is today.